Our guest on The Informer is Michael Ray, an ordinary dad having an extraordinary amount of fun. Mate, welcome to the studio.
Welcome, George.
The most important part about this is we're getting to do something we haven't done in a while, talk about International Men's Day.
Yes.
Established back in 1999. Can you believe we
No.
waited till 1999 for our very own International Day?
No, and there's always a lot of eye rolling that goes on sometimes when we say, oh, what do men need a day for? The patriarchy gets thrown up a lot, but men are struggling, George. Men don't have it that well at the moment.
It's a good point you make. I've always been a great believer that as one part of the community grows and soars and changes, I suppose its footprint in any marketplace, there's an adjustment. And there was a serious adjustment as we saw more and more women entering the marketplace and the workspace. And of course, we've seen so many jobs not go by the by, but change and evolve. And you're right, we've had to reclaim some of that territory because there were a whole host, I suppose, of modern men who were looking at themselves and saying, what is our role today?
Exactly, George.
Is that fair or not?
Yeah, there's never been a better time to be a father in society at the moment, George, with us reclaiming our connection with our kids rather than just being seen as a breadwinner, provider and disciplinarian, but it's left a lot of men straddling the divide, having to provide for the family, having those commitments and yet wanting more time with the kids.
The theme this year, I notice, is pretty decent and so right. Better health for men and boys. We're not pretty good with looking after ourselves. Women, of course, if they have a pain or if they have a problem, they immediately go and have a test, a screening, or the doctors. Men, why are we so reticent?
I'm not sure, George. I think it comes down to a little bit of the I'll be fine, we sacrifice for others, we've got a lot on, but it all comes down to just not prioritising our health and thinking we're bulletproof. But when you look at some of the statistics, it's terrible, and a lot of it is self-inflicted.
You're so right. When we talk about screenings and the medical stats that are coming out, of all the screenings, of 100% of the screenings that go out there, only 9% are men.
Yep.
The vast majority are women who've, as I said, at the first drop of the hat, if there's a problem, they will do the right thing. They'll go and see their physician. They'll go and see their doctor. They'll go and see their physio. Men, she'll be right, mate.
Yeah.
But we've got to be better. And I noticed that International Men's Day this year is talking about encouraging men to lead by example. So, chest up, but we've got to lead by example. We've got to show the way to others and to the children especially. Does that seem about right for you?
Exactly, George. That's why I'd say we want to appear brave and courageous, but we're scared to go to the doctors in case we get that bad news. Well, I don't need you rushing into a building that's on fire to prove how brave you are when you won't go to the doctor and say, you know what, I haven't been sleeping, I've been having some bad thoughts, I've been maybe relying on alcohol a little bit too much to distract myself. You want to show me courage, put your hand up and show your vulnerability. I'd much rather, sit there and listen to your struggles and your challenges than sit there and listen to your eulogy one day. So, we need to support each other in this as well and model that behaviour that we want to see.
That's a very good point that you make. We struggle for role models and the broader community always is looking for positive role models. Social science research shows that when men as fathers aspire to better health, then their children also do the same. So, as we've said before, children are fantastic recorders. They're the best recording machine on the planet. They see something, they immediately will try and do it. And that's why so often you hear in sport, the leaders of those sports organisations need to understand that what happens in the top leagues filters through to the bottom leagues. So if you can keep the top league or the elite level clean, unencumbered and good examples, then that'll flow down to the sports men and women playing in the lower grades. You would think that's common sense, but
Yeah.
There's not too much of that going on.
Exactly, George. I've worked at an elite level with AFL clubs, strength and conditioning. I've worked with Olympic level athletes,
Yep.
and all of that high level stuff. And the problem with focusing on the high level stuff, if it's not modelled in the home, we all know kids who wear the football jersey, they're champion and stuff like that. But if dad's not making the time to get down to the park and kick the footy around with him,
Makes it hard.
yeah, and then when you start saying to your kids, please do as I say, not what as I do, because I'm a bit tired, I want to lie on the couch. And I keep saying to the people when I work with them in a coaching scenario that action creates motivation. Motivation's good for an hour, but when it wears off, what are you going to do?
Well, and it adds another layer to that line, talk is cheap. Just actions speak louder than words. We say it time and time again. I notice you're wearing the fabulous new branding, Movember.
Exactly.
Very important month for men especially. It's normally a fantastic fundraiser for prostate.
Yep.
And it's a condition that affects men around the world. Movember does its best to make people more aware, and you're wearing those handlebars as low and as long as I've seen. What does Charlie say, your daughter?
She's impressed, George. That's what I say though, when you read the statistics on prostate cancer,
Yep.
It's as eye-opening as the exam. It's just terrible, and yet we men avoid it, and it's going to take you out. So if you're not careful, prostate, bowel, skin care, all of the rest of it, effects of alcohol, tobacco, all affect men. We're up in the 60 to 70% of impacts. Obesity, blood pressure, cholesterol. Funny thing I don't understand about men, we will religiously go and get our cars serviced and checked. The minute there's the slightest knock, if the heater's a little bit funny, we're onto that. And yet, those little
The most important piece of body work, and we're not the same, are we?
And when people say, I don't have time, it's like when...
Make time.
Have you ever been too busy to stop and put petrol in on the way to somewhere? How's that worked out?
No, you have to push the car. It ain't good.
We put 9% of our earnings away for a future and superannuation for a future we mightn't even get to have, or that we mightn't want, because your health is everything, George. It's the foundation for everything. So if you want to be more productive and live a better life, it's just a little bit away each day,
Sound advice.
1 hour 3 times a week is about 2 or 3%.
Michael Ray is saying, stay active, be active. Get up and go for a walk. During COVID, there's been plenty of that opportunity. By the way, the day after International Men's Day is International Children's Day.
Yes.
So that's a fantastic thing, and I suppose it's 48 hours of really celebrating the fact that men, children, and those special relationships that fathers can have with their children.
Exactly, George.
Yeah.
A lot of the times we only seem to speak about pregnancy as it affects women, and women don't just become mothers, we all become parents. And a lot of the times I'll get mentioned that, gee, you're a great dad. And I say, no, I don't want to be a great dad, because there seems to be a different bar to clear. I want to be a great parent.
Yeah.
And until fatherhood is spoken about in the same glowing terms as motherhood, this equality won't happen. And we know that equality in the Nordic countries, where equality is a lot better, the men sleep better, they have less depression, and suicide rates are halved. And with 76% of all suicide rates being men, that's something we should pay attention to. And that's a society where dads take the same amount of parental leave off to raise their kids. The dads with the pram is a common occurrence and appearance on the streets. So we really need to see that men's mental health is actually linked to their connection and their commitment to their family as well.
Well, we've got to change our thinking. There's no doubt about that, because where we're going, based on the stats and the latest figures, suggests that we have to lift our game. Because in the Western world, not so much the Nordic countries, but in the Western world, more sedentary than ever before. We've dropped the ball with positive role models, and positive male role models is something we need to get back to. If we want to improve gender relations, you're 100% on the mark. We've got to look at balancing those books. They have become skewed for a number of reasons, and some of them had gone the wrong way for too long. and now they've gone the other way. Let's talk about this again when we get a chance, but remember, November is Movember, and Michael Ray has filled it up as he can do. He's given us the best example of a modern dad with the best handlebars you're likely to see in a long, long time. Michael Ray, thank you for joining us.
Thanks very much.
Enjoy International Men's Day and International Children's Day with Charlie.
I will, George. Thank you.
Thanks, mate.